Now, Bernard Madoff is asking for mercy at his sentencing on fraud charges later on this month. Michelle McQuarrie has the story from New York. And Michelle, what is this orchestrator of this $50 billion Ponzi scheme thinks that he can get leniency on?
Well, Susan, Madoff is 71 years old, so a sentence of almost any length could amount to a life sentence. He does face up to 150 years in prison when he's sentenced next Monday, but Madoff's defense lawyer is arguing that he should spend 12 years behind bars. And Ira Sorkin, the lawyer, is asking the judge for this leniency, claiming that Madoff has cooperated with the investigation. Sorkin also asked the judge to consider the fact that Madoff confessed to his sons and effectively turned himself in, rather than continuing to run the scheme or flee the country. Now, today he filed a letter in a Manhattan federal court saying, and I quote, "We seek neither mercy nor sympathy. Respectfully, we seek the justice and the objectivity that have been, and we hope always will be, the bedrock of our criminal justice system." So Sorkin's justification for a 12-year sentence is based on Madoff's life expectancy, which is around 13 years, and his so-called cooperation with turning himself in. But other white-collar convicts are facing more time than that. Let's take a look. WorldCom CEO Bernie Ebbers is 67 years old, and he's serving 25 years in prison. Former Enron CEO Jeffrey Skilling is serving 24 years, although a federal appeals court has ordered that he be resentenced. And as far as Madoff is concerned, prosecutors have so far identified 1,341 victims of Madoff's scheme, with combined losses of more than $13 billion. Prosecutors have declined to comment on Sorkin's request. They will file their own pre-sentencing report later this week. Susan?
And what about those victims, Michelle? Do they get to confront Madoff in court?
Well, a lot of them felt frustrated. Remember, Judge Denny Chin declined to let Madoff's victims make statements during his earlier court appearances, but he has said that his victims will get a chance to speak at the sentencing. The judge issued a news release today saying that the courtroom for Monday's sentencing seats 250 people. Some of those seats will be reserved for reporters. The rest will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. And, Susan, you can bet that a lot of Madoff's victims will want a chance to get a face-to-face confrontation with him. And meanwhile, we got some news on Mini Madoff, also known as Alan Stanford. That's the Texas financier accused of leading that $7 billion fraud. He'll be appearing before a U.S. magistrate judge in Houston on June 25th. That's a day later than originally planned, and that's according to prosecutors. Susan, back to you.
I'm sure there's a lot of emotion involved as well for the victims if they do get to confront Madoff in court. Okay, thank you for that, Michelle McQuarrie in New York.